So for today's episode, we're gonna be going over the recent episode that just came out today. I believe it was episode 7 of Sentenced to Be a Hero. And honestly, I really want to focus towards the end of the episode. So they pretty much, have while they're exploring the town, Xylo and the commander girl, and then we see the other guy later. I forgot his name, but they pretty much all um act like bodyguards because apparently like since they're in the town and now they know like there's heretics. There's a strong possibility that those heretics like might contact like mercenaries to kill the goddess Teresa, and as we saw, that's what literally happened at the end of the episode. So they get attacked. Obviously, Xylo he blocks the the blow, but the and this is probably gonna be the first thing that I want to question. So Xylo, he blocks the attack, whatever, um, and then the commander girl says, "Oh, go second route," because they probably already planned it. So they do that, and then how do you call it? Like the holy rites. It it seemed like they're supposed to be there, but the whole they're really not. They're probably somewhere else. So honestly, when I saw that, like I honestly thought like it could be possible that the Holy Knights themselves are doing this because it's been pretty apparent like for some reason they don't want Lady Teresa, and so at this point they're like trying to find an excuse to kill her. So I don't know. I feel like they kind of this is the theory, but they like kind of tipped her off, tipped the the Koch sisters, and like say like, oh, your goddess is here if you want to kill her. By the way, and there's mercenaries, but fast forwarding to the actual fight. So before I so during the fight, there's Lady Teresa says something like I don't know when it was said. I think it was said honestly in the beginning of the episode, but it was explained like there's actually a demon lord out there called Springard. And it seemed like he had the rare ability of shapeshifting to human. That's what they think. And then fast forward to the fight, they actually encounter one of. It seemed like one of the leaders. It seemed like they encounter him, and like when they fight him, like he has superhuman strength, and then you see like this like the vein thing, it like glows and like very ominous. And then when the dragon came and pretty much blew flames everywhere, and even Jay said he was like, yeah, nothing can like withstand the flames of the dragon. But you know, we don't see him, but we do hear from the guy. He's like, oh yeah, I learned something else. So he's I don't know. It showed like he had superhuman, like he could put, like he has a strong body. And then you'll see Teresa at the end. She's like, oh maybe that's Springer. And this is my other thing, is that what if, because we know since it's the coexisters faction, to me, it wouldn't be that surprising if like the leaders kind of like did this experiment where like they transplant some of the power that the demon lord has to the humans, like transplant, and then those people that they probably do this. So they probably, if I have to guess, they probably have their the leaders lined up. That then they ask who wants to do this procedure, and obviously everyone wants to do it, all the leaders. And my theory is that only people who have survived that process, because I'm guessing it's like a 50-50, like we could transplant you, but you could also die in the process. And I feel like the leaders, especially him, are those people that survived, those people that were able to attain the demon power that the demon lords have. Um, yeah, that's my whole other theory. I guess my other thing I would like to share is that there's this theory out there, and it sounds very compelling, and could be true, that Tatsuya, the guy that we saw, the animal guy, the guy who who has no, is like an animal. That Tatsuya guy, there's a theory that he was actually brought here. He was reincarnated, or he was even teleported here. Now, the reason I subscribe to this theory is because if you just like him face of value, like he does give you um, that vibe of like he's not supposed to be here, like he's someone that's not, yeah, supposed to be here. Um, and on top, not to call anyone out, but Tatsuya has like this pretty much broken ability of he has a very overpowered ability. So it's not like magic or anything, but it's like a strength. Um, but yeah, the reason I subscribe to that theory is because if you see in realities, if you see one of the frames, I think it was last 2 episodes ago when um, Tatsuya, killed all those coexisters in that tunnel. So if you saw before he lunged at them, he like did some hand signs with his hand before he went full berserk, and like if you see closely, like hand movements he does are very reminiscent to a scrolling on an interface or something. And then kind of makes sense because we wouldn't be able, as the audience, be able to see that. And I don't know, I feel like if that were the case, that would kind of pull like a, it'd be, it would make the story more interesting. Unlike from that, there would even be more questions as to like maybe the reason like Tatsuya's a hero in the first place is because he was teleported here by, I'm guessing, a goddess who wasn't supposed to do it but did it anyways. That's what I'm guessing happened. That's why he's a hero, if I had to guess. And like, if I had to guess even more, probably only a select few of the higher ups actually know what's going on. I guess one last thing before I end this. So, going back to the Sprigger, I know I've said my theory on what I think the guy in the alley was. To put it briefly, I think he was just a coexister human, one of the leaders that, you know, survived that transplant of like demon lord power onto your body. So I think that's what happened. It would explain his like strength and like what we saw pretty much, and like the fact he can survive Dragon's Flame, which is supposed to be a no, you can't do that. Even Jace was surprised. But going back to who the actual Springer is, so I have a theory, and my theory is that I think the Springer is that guy we saw, the long-haired guy, because you, you probably noticed this a few episodes ago, but like he was basically the one to be responsible to put everyone that's in the heroes um, thing that we know of is kind of responsible. So he did that to. Mm, yeah, we did. Yeah, we saw him do that to the gray-haired guy, and then the the other guy too that was killing indiscriminately or whatever. So he did that to two guys, and if I had to guess, he was probably a big factor. Of like, yeah, we need to make Silo a hero. So if I had to guess, like he was probably the one not responsible, but like part of that decision, because as we know, it was probably a huge conspiracy. But yeah, that's enough talking for me. Honestly, um, I just wonder what the next episode has in store for us. I need more explanations. Would be cool. And yeah, think about and to hear. Please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.